Hello everyone, it's Sylvie. Welcome back. I hope you're doing good. Today I'm doing the 54321 Tarot tag, which was created by Kelly Bear. I was tagged by Meg at Rose Honey Ritual. I also had a notification pop up from YouTube that somebody else had tagged me. I immediately forgot who it was. I'm sorry, but I will link everybody and their videos in the description. So, I'm going to get straight into it. This is such a fun tag. I say I'm going to get straight into it. What a lie. No, I'm going to ramble for a bit first. This is so much fun. I really like it. I've really enjoyed watching everybody else's that have gone up so far. I like getting to have a nosy at people's collections and their practice and their favorite things, you know? Anyways, so starting off with the 5 decks, I decided to choose 5 decks that I think are really cool that I have in my collection, but I just feel like I've been neglecting a bit, and like show them off and remind myself that they exist, you know. So this is the first one in no particular order. This is the Tarot of the Toiling Hands. And like, I don't know how I am neglecting this deck because I've only had it a few weeks and it's new and I was really excited about it and I am still really excited about it. But yeah, I just feel like I'm neglecting this. I think because I got a few decks like around the same time and like I only have so much attention to give to tarot and this one just hasn't been getting it, but it's so cool. It's this gorgeous black and white like tattoo style artwork. The creator of the deck is a tattoo artist, and I really like the titles that they've got on them as well. It's like keywords kind of, like they're not like thought titles or anything, but I just think they're so cool. So yeah, it's gorgeous and I need to play more with it. I am 97% sure also that the artist of this deck has now released a colouring book with the major arcana, which I definitely want. I was never into the like... Sorry, I'm ignoring a phone call. I'm a very busy woman. Yeah, completely missed my train of thought. She's released a colouring book. Yeah, no, I was never into the like adult colouring craze because I find it a bit twee, but like tarot, you say, that might change my mind. Okay, this is the Vampire Tarot. This one is out of print. A couple of these are... No, that's not true. They're just indie, or like a little bit more difficult to get. But anyway, this is the Vampire Tarot by Natalie Hertz, who also did the Fairies Tarot that I recently-ish got, and a like fantastical something tarot that's also out of print and that I also can't get my hands on. Because I don't want to pay stupid money, basically. But I'm obsessed with this. I think the artwork is so cool. I'm definitely going to play with this more in like autumn, Halloween time because it's all dark and grungy. But I just love the art style. I feel like it's so good for vampires. Like, it's dramatic. I love the queens in this deck. I think they're just amazing. But like, it's really dark and moody and everyone's like a bit spiky and like gaunt and unwell looking. And then the minors are quite cool. Like, they're a bit pippish, but they have like different kind of, like this one is the pentacles, they're more scenic pips, whereas the swords are all quite pippish and then these like statue type figures. So like, it's interesting. It's really cool. And like this like very like spiky gothic, just very cool vibe, and I really want to play with it some more. Obviously that's the whole point. These are cool decks that I feel like I've been neglecting, so that sort of goes without saying. I love this High Priestess. Do you know what I'm really finding myself noticing something? I love a slightly vicious looking High Priestess. The Ocean Arcana Tarot, whatever it's called, has and I've forgotten the artist's name, so that's really unhelpful, has a high priestess that is one of those, is it called the anglerfish? The ones that are really evil looking, that have the little light and they sort of lure their prey and kill them. Anyway, I'm getting that deck. I added it to the Earth Arcana Kickstarter thing that I backed. That's all coming shortly, so I'm very excited. Anyway, I like a vicious high priestess. That's what that was. This is the Raincoast Tarot. This one also fairly recent. I think I just need to chill out on buying decks, or just buy one at a time. I had to pause. It was a really fun, loud siren going past. Yeah, I need to chill out on buying multiple decks at once because, yeah, I only have so much attention and I can only like I love this sun. It just looks so goofy. But yeah, anyway, I got this with several other decks because I ordered this off Make Playing Cards and the shipping is ridiculous. At least to the UK, it's ridiculous. So I wanted to order several at once to like make it feel a bit worth it. And this was one I've had my eye on forever. It's the pentacles in this deck that are just so cool. Like there's so much going on. I have no idea what's going on, but it's a lot. But then like this deck is a really strange one because I think it's the swords and the wands are kind of almost like bland in comparison. Like they're just the Rider-Waite-Smith almost. Yeah, this is just, I think, yeah, candles must be wands. And I like that she's got a tarot deck going. Interesting that she's got the, I have no idea if you can see, but I feel like that looks like the Ace of Swords to me. Maybe it's meant to be the wands. Anyway. Yeah, like here we go. The swords are just kind of meh compared to like the absolute batshit craziness going on in the pentacles. Like, it's strange, and I think maybe that's why I haven't played with it so much, because like I can't figure out that decision. Anyway, that is the Raincoast. I did do an unboxing and playing with pairs of my Make Playing Cards order. I don't remember if I did like a proper walkthrough of it though. This is the Feldman Sisters Tarot. I do have a walkthrough of this actually because this was a Kickstarter that I was really excited about and then just like have pulled it out to have a look through. Do you know what? It's the cardstock because this is a really odd finish. But yeah, this is just absolutely bug wild. I love it though. So the Feldman sisters are Ukrainian street artists, Ukrainian street artist twin sisters, and so they designed this deck in their style. And like some of it, like this is the Three of Pentacles, is quite Rider-Waite-Smith, and then this is the Five of Wands, and it's like really not. I just love it. I think I flipped this out to look at it. Like, I love this blobby King of Swords. I pick this up, grab this, flip through it just to look at it, but I feel like I don't really read with it, which is like fine. I'm not mad about that. I'm happy to have like my little 78 card art collection that I just flick through sometimes, but like, I would like to read with it. I think I just need to be in a certain kind of mood to read with it because it's very non-traditional for sure. But it's really cool. Anyway, I won't flip through the whole thing because I've done a walkthrough of this. But yeah, I think it's it's not the easiest to shuffle either. Ooh. Just caught the edge there. Although she ripples. Yeah, I don't know why I haven't... This is fine. Why was I making such a fuss? Eee. Okay, that wasn't very successful. Maybe she's not easy to shuffle with. Okay, my fifth deck in this 5 decks that I think are really cool that I've been neglecting. This is the Dragon Tarot. This is is mass market, I believe. I got my copy off eBay with there's like bigger book. I don't know if that edition is still in print, but the deck is. I love this artist, Peter Prokonik. Peter Prokonik. I love his art, and I'm on a mission to collect all the decks that he's done because I think they're really cool. But yeah, this is a Dragon Tarot. It's fairly straightforward. I like that it's got the elements on it and the astrological symbols as well. And the minors are pretty pippy, which maybe is also why I haven't reached for it over much, but I just think the art style is so cool. Like, it feels so nostalgic to me. It feels like 90s fantasy art or like video game art vibes. Like, it's just really cool. The book that comes with this, the like bigger book that I have, is also really cool. It has loads of like dragon mythology in it. I feel like I need to sit down and read it properly. But yeah. That is my fifth very cool, very neglected deck. Okay, so for my 4 books, I have decided to go with 4 books that are like on my radar, on my wish list, that I've pre-ordered, you know, that sort of thing, because I can. So the first one is Radical Tarot by Charlie Claire Burgess. This is out next week, at least here in the UK. This is out next week, and I already have it on pre-order, so I'm definitely getting this one. Charlie Claire Burgess made the Fifth Spirit Tarot, which I love. I value the like ethos, I guess, behind this deck, as well as like what there is of the mass market guidebook. I really like. I am gutted that I missed this when it was indie and when you could get like a bigger, more detailed guidebook. So I'm hoping that this book, Radical Tarot, is gonna like fill that gap a bit. So I am extremely looking forward to Radical Tarot. My next book is A Walk Through the Forest of Souls by Rachel Pollack. Like, am I following the masses with this one? Like, maybe a little bit, but I'm not mad about it. I think this is a collection of essays, and it has been like on my radar because obviously it's Rachel Pollack, but it was when I did the soul reading a few videos ago that was like brought to TarotTube by Malena and Lennon. When I did that reading that was taken from this book, that's the key information here, it was taken from A Walk Through the Forest of Souls, but I really like enjoyed doing that reading and made me like pay a bit more specific attention to this book rather than just like having it in my brain as a Rachel Pollack book. I've like read a couple reviews and now I really want to get it and read it for myself, but this one maybe is like a bit further off because I have a lot of reading material already, so I'm not in any rush to bring this one in, but it's one that I definitely want to get to eventually. My third book is The Living Tarot by T. Susan Chang. This looks like it's a bit more of a workbook type tarot book from what I can tell. I am currently working through Mary K. Greer's Tarot for Yourself, which I can't believe I've not had before now, but I am making my way through that slowly but surely. So again, this one, The Living Tarot, isn't like an imminent need, but it is a book that I'm very interested in, with the focus of like learning the tarot by like living it and applying it to real life. It's very interesting to me. I think it's very cool. So that one is also on my like wish list. Okay, so my 4th book on my little wish list is Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. This one is fiction. This is the first book in a fantasy series. And all I know about this is that it has a magic system which is like based on or modeled on or uses the tarot. I am a big fantasy fiction lover, and like obviously I'm a big tarot lover, so of course I really want to read this. I think it was Cody at Tarot Readings from a Bitch who has been reading these and talking about them in like wrap-ups and recommending them. So that's also really making me want to read these, and like kind of pushing them up my wish list. So those are my 4 books that I'm hoping to get to at some point in the not too distant future. Let me know if you think any of them are especially worth or not worth my time, because I have truly more books than any one person needs already, so happy to like refine my TBR down a bit. Okay, so 3 spreads. This was like tricky because I feel like I don't really have a lot of spreads that I like have as mainstays that I go to a lot, but I did come up with 3, so I'm gonna visualize them with a tarot deck here. And I feel like the first 2 barely count as spreads because I made them up, and I realize that's stupid, but they feel like they barely count because they're just shit I came up with. So this one I feel like I've mentioned before. It's my most basic, like daily kind of a spread, and like I feel like it's cheating to call it a spread. But anyway, it's my more of this, less of that, something to consider little 3-card draw. So this is more of this, less of that, which I read together, and I read them obviously like in relation to each other. So this I might read like as like satisfaction with what you've got and not trying to like go out and seek new things, because that's like the 9 of Cups energy versus the Page of Swords energy. Whereas if it was the 9 of Cups versus like the Hermit, I might read this as like the Cups energy versus the solitary energy of the Hermit, and this kind of like fulfillment community type vibe versus being out on your own and seeking like self-fulfillment or what have you. So it's my more of this, less of that. And then something to consider is the 3rd card, that is just however I can make these 2 relevant to myself. So, or like, it's usually just like a daily what's the vibes kind of a reading. So I might say more like connection, less solitary, but like in the context of the 5 of Cups, which is about like, so I'd read this as like, okay, appreciating like the cups that I've still got and not trying to like get too in my own feelings about it, kind of a thing. This is like a very rough and ready like mini reading. I'm gonna switch the deck because that's really shiny. So my second spread is also 3 cards, and is also just some shit I came up with. Is that better? It's extremely gloomy today. The English weather is doing its thing and shitting it down with rain, and the lighting situation is dim at best. So this is also 3 cards. So the first 2 cards, which is these 2 on the outside, are like, this is like a daily like vibe check kind of reading. The way that I do it, it's like, okay, how's my day looking sort of a thing, or like, what do I need to know? What do I need to consider? That sort of thing. So the first 2 cards are basically just like relevant factors. So these are each like energies that are relevant to my day, my situation. If you're going to ask like a more specific question, like 2 factors that are like relevant in their own way. These are the things that are like cropping up. If you have a deck that likes to tell you the things that you already know, like that's what they're going to be saying. This is what that is. And then the 3rd card is just like what's between them. So the first 2 are put down separately with a little gap in the middle because they are individual relevant factors. And then the 3rd card is something that connects them. It might be like a common root cause. It might be how you like get from one to the other. It might be a compromise if the first 2 cards seem really conflicting, like that kind of a thing. So like if this is like a how is my day going? Okay, like indecision, being stuck in that like fantasy of choice, and also the moon, things that are under the surface, things that are hidden, things that are not obvious. And then the thing that's between them would be the Knight of Wands. So maybe I like overcome these or whatever by driving forward and, I don't know, getting shit done. instead of being stuck in the indecision and the murk of my like repressed stuff that I don't want to deal with. You've got a Knight of Wands your way through it. I don't know. I like the spread because, like the first one, it is a conversation between the cards rather than just like what do they mean, because again it's going to change. Like if there was a different, what is that, the 8 of Swords, it's going to change how I like read these two together depending on what this third card is, which sounds incredibly obvious and sounds like, yeah, no shit, that's how you read tarot. But I think sometimes it's easy to get stuck in like keywords and knowing meanings and then trying to like apply those meanings to the situation. I don't know, I don't read very predictively. Like I'm not believing that, like I don't read as if somebody is like telling me stuff. Like I don't think I'm getting messages here. It's just a tool to like figure my brain out. So I'm very like free and easy with how I actually interpret the message of the cards. Anyhow, this one also works really well with an oracle deck in these two like first positions. But this is a tarot tag. Okay, spread 3 feels like an actual tarot spread. This one is 5 cards. So I do it less often because it takes longer, but I do really like it. It's really good for like an overview of a situation. Like I like a vague spread. I don't really have a lot that I go to frequently that like very particular with what each position is supposed to mean. I like a vague spread so I can make my card meanings work. Anyhow, so cards 1 and 2 here are like the big picture answers to whatever question you're asking. Which when I do it is usually what the fuck is going on with like XYZ situation. So the top card here is the obvious factor. It's the thing that is like, yeah, the obvious in your face, most prominent answer. And then the bottom card here is something that is equally as important in the, you know, grand scheme of the question, but is like a bit more hidden, is a bit more under the surface, is a bit more like subtexty. Yeah, and then cards 3 and 5 branch off of these, sitting like in the middle because they're equally affected by both factors. And these are, I guess, like topics to be addressed, things that are going to come up. If you wanted to read, or if you do read a bit more like predictively, you could read this as like a sequence of events. I don't, but you totally could. I mean, you can do whatever you like. That's the whole point. But anyway, so yeah, I tend to read these as like individual but obviously related factors, so I might like move them around if that makes more sense to me. If I think like, oh no, okay, this does seem like a sequence of events, I can mix and match a little bit. Anyways, so yeah, that's my, I saw this somewhere, I didn't come up with this, I don't remember where I saw it or who it's by, but my brain didn't come up with this because it makes more sense than the others. That's how you can tell. So it's all relational within the positions of the cards. That's generally how I read anyway. Like, yeah, obviously I know what the cards mean, but it's more about where they sit in relation to each other. And like, that's why spreads are tricky. It's hard to come up with good spreads where the cards actually feel interconnected. Anyhow, okay, so the 2 is 2 tarot habits or paraphernalia. What a good word, paraphernalia. Anyway, I don't really have a lot of tarot habits. I'm deeply inconsistent as a human being. And I think also because tarot isn't spiritual for me, I don't have any like ritualized behaviors about it. I just read as and where and how and when the mood strikes me. So I am going with tarot paraphernalia. And I have 2 little tarot inspired arty crafty things, which I think counts and is really cute. So this is unbearably cute. I'm going to be quick because it's a little bit like sickeningly adorable. So this is a little 2 of Cups card that my partner made. They were not into tarot before me, but I talk about it all the bloody time. And I kept pulling the 2 of Cups in my readings for myself, like when we were first seeing each other. Which I eventually told them. I didn't tell them right at the start because I didn't want to scare them off. But anyway, they made me this and it's really fucking cute. So that is my first tarot paraphernalia. And my other is this. Okay. Shitty art that I make. I call it bad art because that makes me feel better. I don't want compliments about it. This is not me like fishing for compliments or being self-deprecating. It's just that I have to call it bad art, otherwise I get too in my head about it. So I make bad art, and this is my little tarot inspired book. So we're very much early days in it. But this is my Empress page, which I think I'm like maybe nearly done with. I need to clean this up, but this is my little Empress page. I think she's about done. I've got the stars, I've got the Venus symbol. I like it. And then this is my Magician background, which I'm dead chuffed with because I have like the elements, and then this is the pillars of creation. The like James Webb telescope? Is that what it's called? Why do I think James Webb is something else? Anyway, I'm not going to show you the Hierophant because I don't like how it's coming out. I've only had this going a few weeks, so I'm like making my way through it. But yeah, these are my arty tarot paraphernalia things. Okay, and then the one is one piece of advice or a card that I like want to emulate. This was tricky for me because on the one hand, do I want to deal with imposter syndrome and give advice where I feel like I have no business giving advice? Or do I want to be vulnerable and tell you what card I want to emulate? Equally terrible options, quite frankly. I'm joking. I like these questions. I really liked watching other people's responses. But I do have some advice, which, you know, take or leave as you will. This is advice that sounds really obvious when I say it out loud, but it only occurred to me like several years into reading tarot. So maybe I will not be the only one who needed this actually verbalizing for them. But basically, you're allowed to move cards around when you're reading in a spread. Kind of like I was when I had my little 5 card. And I was like, okay, so these are my factors. And then these are, or like these are my like causes, and then these are my factors. And like you can move stuff around if it makes more sense. If you think it's like a timeline and you're like, oh, actually, it would make more sense because they've got this and this and this thing coming up. Or if you think, well, actually, like these are not all equally affected by these 2 factors. So maybe this is more affected by the obvious factor and this is more affected by the hidden factor, and then this is a bit of an outcome. Or like, you know, like this doesn't work so well with like a 3-card spread, but even when I'm doing my like more of this, less of that, something to consider, I might, like I read these 2 here and then I put this one over here, and then if I think this is like kind of a mediating factor, I'll like stick it in the middle as I'm reading. Like it helps me visualize how I'm reading the cards. Does that make any sense? I think it was the wrong words to use, but like, yeah, you can move stuff around. And like what you're reading a lot of the time is the relationships between the cards, especially in my like more of this, less of that, like I was saying. It's like, well, the aspect of the Chariot that I'm reading in relation to the Devil is going to be different than the aspect of the Chariot that I'm reading in relation to Temperance. So when it makes sense to move cards around to like visualize those connections a bit better, like you can do that. You don't have to leave the cards in the position that the spread tells you to. And like, yeah, I'm sure that there are people who massively would disagree with this, but I don't, obviously. So like take it or leave it as it suits. And yeah, I figured that if that hadn't occurred to me for several years, then I'm, you know, probably not the only person in the world who that hasn't occurred to. And it's useful to hear, I think, like, especially if you're new and you feel like you're doing things wrong. It's like, you know, you have permission to read however the fuck you like and move cards around in the reading if that makes it make more sense to you. Like it's all a tool, and use it how it's actually helpful. So that's my advice. There was a bonus prompt to tag people, but I feel like everyone has been really on it with this tag. I've seen so many responses already. You know, rightfully so. It's a great tag. But I think, yeah, a lot of people whose video I would want to see have probably already made one, but I will have a think and I will tag some people in the description who I want to see make this video if they haven't already by the time this goes up. So that's it. That's the tag. Thank you so much to Kelly for creating it. Thank you to Meg for tagging me. This was a lot of fun to like film. And like I say, yeah, I've been really loving all the videos that I've seen. And I will continue to be watching all the videos that people put up for this because it's a really good tag. So that's it. That's it from me. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you for watching. Thank you for spending some time with me. I hope that you've enjoyed. Give me a like if you liked it and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.